This isn't going to be a super complex video. It's just that something happened recently and I felt the need to talk about it. I went to a con and saw a few booths selling pre-cure merch, and being the fan that I am, I was pulled in like a magnet. They had a good variety of stuff there, including Kimipre. I ended up talking to the owner about the show for a little bit and found out there were more fans who visited them earlier that day. So, out of curiosity, I asked what seasons were getting the most attention. And I remember them saying Futariwa, Fresh, Smile, and Kimipre. And I was surprised. Futariwa and Fresh are practically a given, and Smile is because of Glitter Force, but Kimipre I wasn't expecting at all. Not because I hate it. If it wasn't clear by now, I really enjoyed that season. I consider it to be very near and dear to my heart. But I was surprised to hear it was doing numbers because the English fandom recently decided that Kimipre was one of, if not the worst season of the entire franchise. That is a sentiment I will personally never agree with, but the hate for this show was bad and consistent. It got hate before it aired, while it aired, before it finished, when it finished, after it finished, and it's still going. It got to the point where I ended up announcing that I'm not going to talk about Tanpri or any seasons after it to limit my fandom interaction. And that's proving to be a good thing because while I'm also enjoying Tanpri, a lot of people praising it were either hating on Kimipre or couldn't praise Tanpri without hating on Kimipre. I'm not going to pretend Kimipre was a perfect season, but treating it like it was the Antichrist is taking it way too far and ruins the experience for pretty much everyone. So hearing that other fans were buying merch for it gave me warmth. I came back the next day ready to buy some stuff, and while I was staring at the wall like a hoarder, someone reached over me and grabbed Tanpri merch. So I asked them about it, and they said they were watching it. And then they asked me about the last season, and I said I watched it and liked it. And in one way, it was kind of sad because when they asked, their voice was quiet. But when I gave my stance, I swear they lit up, and that's what made it great. And we talked about the fandom hating the show and us liking it anyway, and they ended up showing me a recording of them competing as Cure Idol, which looked absolutely amazing. But I keep thinking about it. If I didn't talk to them, if I didn't confirm I liked Kimipre, or even worse, if I was someone else, if I was one of the fans that hated Kimipre, they probably wouldn't have bothered to show me that absolutely amazing, incredibly accurate, handmade, mind you, cosplay of Cure Idol. I'm so happy we ended up crossing paths and eventually following each other because I think I made their day a little brighter too. And I think I ended up rubbing off on them a little because I mentioned Uta was one of my favorites and they said they were sick of looking at her because of the cosplay they did, which I thought was fair. Idol's outfit is not as simple as the show pretends it is. I'm not faulting that cosplayer for not wanting to look at her anymore. But they ended up going to make a purchase, and while I was continuing to stare at the wall like a hoarder, they ended up coming back and grabbing a mini plush of Cure Idol. And I promise you I didn't say anything. They bought that of their own merit. I ended up leaving the booth with miscellaneous stuff, but specifically 6 pieces of Kimipre merch. One of these was a plush of Idol. And while I was waiting in line for a different event, I took her out and I kept looking at her, humming some of her songs and telling my brother repeatedly that I was so happy to finally have her because I am. I am so glad I own her now, to the point where I pulled her out multiple times while planning this video. The next day was my last day at the con, and I saw someone cosplaying as Lucia from Mermaid Melody, a show I haven't watched yet. And I told them this, and then we talked a little bit about why they recommended it. So I'm ready to split off when I see none other than Megalodon hanging off of this person's bag. So of course I have to say something. And they ended up removing their bag to reveal an Ida bag filled with miscellaneous magical girl trinkets, including Pretty Cure. So we ended up talking about the franchise in a few different seasons and our opinions, and that Cure Kiss was their favorite from Kimipre. And while I don't think they ended up finishing the season, they explained that they're enjoying Kimipre a lot more than Wanpre, which... And I gave my own opinion on the matter, and after we accidentally held each other hostage, we traded socials and split off. And thus, we're here. Me talking about my con experience. What I'm about to say is stuff I already know and stuff others might already know, but with fandoms being so negative, it makes it easy to forget. And unfortunately, I will need to talk about an unrelated fandom experience in the future. So this is a reminder to myself and others. It is more important that you like something than that others hate something. Meaning that if you like Kimipre, the haters don't matter. If you think you're alone in liking something, chances are you're not. There were many Kimipre fans at the con. Some I never got the pleasure of meeting. And you may have to control your interactions to find your people, but when you do, it is worth it. I got so excited when people wanted to talk to me about the franchise, and even more when I realized that they were either watching or enjoyed Kimipre. I am absolutely certain there are others that felt the same way. So, if you're a fan of Kimipre, don't stop, and don't be apologetic about it. The show has value by virtue of you enjoying it. And I promise you, it is worth it. You'll have more fun that way, and you'll find your people eventually. Keep liking what you like. It'll be worth it in the end.